Earlier in the course, I told you that you should properly tag your images before deploying them to various environments. So in this window, we're still talking to our production machine. Let's run Docker PS. Okay, look, on this machine, we have this image called Vidly_web, but we don't know what version of our application is included in this image. This is the problem I was talking about. So if we encounter inconsistencies amongst different environments, let's say our application works in a certain way in the staging environment, but not the same way in production. We don't know what version each environment is running. So we want to properly tag our images. How? Back to our production compose file. Look at the definition of the web service. Here we have the build instructions, but in addition to build, we can also add the image property to tag this image. So we can say this image is going to be called Vidly_web : let's say this is version 1. Now similarly, we can add the image property to our API service and say, once this is built, it should be called Vidly API version 1. Save the changes. Now we're going to redeploy. So let's run Docker Compose again using the build option because we want to rebuild our images, right? Let's go ahead with that. All right, our application is redeployed. So let's run Docker PS one more time. Great. Now we can clearly see in production, we're running Vidly version 1. Now tomorrow, if we decide to deploy a new version, we have to go back to our compose file and manually update this and then redeploy. This is not ideal. That's why we use continuous integration and deployment tools. Using continuous integration and deployment tools, we can automate our deployment process. So we can configure our tool to check out the latest version of our code from our GitHub repository. Then it will build our image and tag it according to the latest build number. Or we can have our tool tag our images based on the latest commit. This way we can easily trace what version we are running in each environment. So instead of an arbitrary number here, we will have our git commit ID or the build number. That really goes outside the scope of this course and is something you need to learn on your own. So that brings us to the end of this course. I hope you have learned a lot and I'm going to see you in my other courses. If you enjoyed this course, please support me by telling others about it. I really appreciate your support. Once again, thank you and I wish you the best.